We might be the Chihuahua.
You are an ostrich.
Eggs. Dilly din, dilly dong, come on.
As electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub, my friend. Aguero! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again. I don't believe it. You missed that. You're having a laugh. It's Torres to get
Welcome back to another episode of the Honest Football Podcast, where we bring honesty back to the beautiful game. With me, as always, is Daniel Cody and Charlie Betts.
Good evening.
On the show this week, should extra time be put to bed? And where can you play football for free?
So, guys, another week, another Friday. When we do this podcast, how's it been?
Apart from like nearly losing my whole cardiovascular system to England versus Colombia, actually, it wasn't a bad week.
It was a glass case of emotion.
God, bloody hell, honestly, I genuinely thought I was up to take the next penalty at one point, because I was so nervous.
I nearly fainted after the Eric Dyer penalty, not going to lie.
It was awful, wasn't it? No, they got through though, and then, I don't know, by the time this goes out, we'll know whether actually England are...
Football's coming home by the
coming
time this
home
episode comes out.
And thank God for David Ospina.
Why?
Well, did you see that last penalty?
Yeah,
he did punch it in, and that sums him up why he's a terrible goalkeeper.
My highlight of the week was calling that David Gea would let a penalty go underneath his body, much to your dismay, Craig, because you're a massive fan of his, even though we all know that he's actually...
And he palmed one in as well, didn't he?
He did palm one in, yeah. And no, I think it's been quite a good World Cup, isn't it? I think that's taken up most of my week.
No trips to Whitney Snoot?
No, there was no animals.
There was camels earlier today.
Was
camels... Not just one camel, like 6 camels, and they all went for England.
What I have seen is more increasing, I'm sure you'll mention this in another week, is the Mexican wave. That's been at football quite a lot, Craig, which is one of your favourite parts of the...
We do hear about it from you every day, don't we? Every time the Mexican wave starts, within 10 seconds, we have a message from you, don't we, Craig?
They are there to watch the football, but I will discuss that another day for another topic. Moving on to our first topic of the day, extra times.
Extra times.
Extra times.
We all make mistakes, don't we, Craig?
Yes, we do. I'll give you a clue.
Yeah.
You brought that one up, we've still got one.
Don't matter. What's your thoughts on extra time?
So should it be put to bed is the question, basically.
You've played extra time. I don't think Cody's got to that level of putting extra time, so you know it's...
I have. I've never finished extra time.
You never got to 90 minutes.
Cody's normally quite bitter because, I've played it. There's what's the word? There's two sides to this. There's a very obvious argument. I think there's a slight counterpoint to it, but I don't know. I mean, to give a very, very, very brief history of extra time. Before 1968, it was done by drawing lots, so like straws.
It was flip of a coin, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, that was one thing.
It was like 1970s. 1970 was a flip of a coin decided the Euro quarters or semi-final.
Something like that, yeah.
Random.
So obviously, extra time is clearly a better way of doing deciding a game that's tied than that. And obviously,
that's penalty.
But that was after extra time.
Yeah.
Oh, was that after?
That was
extra time?
after extra time.
That was before penalty shootouts were made.
Oh, that's penalty shootout. Sorry, that's
Have you read your history?
That's the wrong set of notes, boys. Right, okay.
We all make mistakes, don't we, Charlie?
Have you read your history?
That's quite embarrassing. No, the reason I remember why that was written in there. The reason being is that it was to decide whether we should just go straight to penalties or should we even bother with extra time, because if you played extra time and then it was done by the flip of a coin, what was the point of the extra time? And you could say that to a point now of penalty shootouts, where what's the point of penalty shootouts?
Well, I mean, having read the website, you got your notes.
Websites.
One of the key things that I saw from it, statistic-wise, was how many more games now go to penalties than how many went to the flip of a coin. So with the flip of a coin, I think it was about 93-94% of the games were decided by the end of extra time.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's in the 70s, if I'm not wrong. So, I mean, there are clearly a lot more teams who are willing to play for the penalties, which, as we've seen many times in this last summer, has been a boring spectacle.
I was just about to ask you that question, is extra time boring? But in the past, FIFA tried to introduce like golden goal, and obviously golden goals. Yeah. Obviously, you score an extra time. That's it. Game over. But then they introduced silver goal, which has only been used once. So I remember.
The issue with extra time is people say that the players are very tired and it makes for a very lackadaisical sort of performance, and two teams that are just so scared of letting one in, and nothing ever actually happens. I think
for international players, but it depends on the tournaments. But for non-league players that worked all day and then play 90 minutes and then have to suck another 30 minutes.
We're talking about different levels, aren't we?
But this is what I'm talking about for extra time for a non-league player.
Yeah.
I think it's utterly pointless.
Yeah. And I mean, for the lower league trophies, they agree, don't they? Because I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know what it's sponsored by now. Checkatrade
Checkatrade, yeah.
That goes straight to penalties. And actually, from a few years ago when Luke got to find, that was actually quite an interesting thing to be involved in.
Yeah.
There is also going back to the top end, but I'm only just using this as a statistic. Now, there's been 13 Champions League finals that have been tied, drawn, whatever you want to call it, after 90 minutes. Of those 13, 11 went to penalties. So it's not really saying that teams are bombing it in the
Champions League.
Obviously, like the European Cup, whatever it used to be called.
Well, one of the things, I don't know if you've seen the news announcement today, but it seems more that the governing bodies are trying to do more to make extra time more exciting rather than get rid of it, particularly with the game pressures having replays and things like that, like the olden days of the FA.
How if you got asked, alright, Cody, you're gonna change extra time, make it more interesting. What would you do?
The one that's coming today is one that I entirely agree with, which is an extra substitution, extra time in a Champions League final.
I agree with that.
My problem is, why is it only one? If it gets to extra time, the rest of the bench should be allowed to be used.
No, so that just stops it.
There'll be a lot of stop-start. I agree.
No, but it has to be at the start of the halves. That should be my thing.
No, I agree with the extra sub. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
I mean, to me,
2 or 3 subs.
To me, I'm trying desperately to find an argument for keeping extra time and how to make it more exciting by doing something drastic. I'm completely against keeping it to start with. To be fair, I prefer the replay system anyway. The Carabao Cup this year, League Cup, whichever it's going to be called in the future, they've scrapped extra time. I think that'll make that competition far more exciting. And more importantly, at the top end, you get more first team players playing if there's not a risk of, well, what if these 6 or 7 players then end up playing 120 minutes 4 days before the Premier League game? You'll end up getting more first team players as well, which will be a better spectacle for the fans.
Yeah, and for the fans itself, going extra time, some people might have to get the train home and miss the last train.
Which we've seen plenty of.
Yeah, like something like
and
that.
all fans are just waiting for a penalty shootout.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah. Oh, I just want a penalty shootout now. That's
what it's
I suppose to take it, strip it back. What is the actual point of extra time? Really, what is the actual point of it? I know, obviously, so games draw.
Extra 2 advert breaks for the sponsors. Extra 30 minutes of advertising hoardings on the roll. I don't know, more pies sold in the stadium. More
I
actually agree with you.
Some of the loot, they stay, if they're going to extra time, they stay open at 90 and then close at 105. But
yeah, no, I agree with you on that point, and that's the thing is that though I suppose it's not for the benefit of football, is it? Apart for the benefit of your fat man who wants another pie, to be honest.
Which it works perfectly. Yeah. Even I'm getting sick of it now.
But as a player, for non-league, I just made a long trip here, and I played 90 minutes, and I'm going to play an extra 30 minutes. To the open, and now I'm going to make a long trip back.
Yeah, I mean, if you're living in Luton, you have to go to Buckingham and do that. That is pretty naff.
Then I've got work the next day.
And even worse.
But then, obviously, the professionals I'll just have a recovery day. I've got the physios there. They can give me a massage, have a warm down day, all that stuff.
While we're on that topic, then of playing slightly devil's advocate, there was a suggestion that I read. I can't take any credit for this, but.
All the rest of you.
No, most of my notes, but that's.
Are you sure this is the right one?
No, this is the right one. No,
Which website is this from?
No, this is exactly. No, but so this is just suggested, and it's obviously not going to go much further than that. But you play penalties before extra time. So say you go in 1-1, scores a 1-1. Okay, you have a penalty shootout, and those goals go into extra time. So then suddenly, say you're 5-3 down after the penalty shootout, as the team who are losing. You've then got to come out and make the, you know what I mean? If you're going to keep extra time, I'm not saying I completely agree with this, but I'm just saying it's a way of, making extra time more exciting. If you're 5-3 down, you have to attack then, don't you?
I wouldn't even bother.
You think, particularly again in the lower leagues where the standard of technique is worse, how many shootouts go beyond 5 penalties? And you're just going to end up having a draw in penalties. Then have an extra time, they'll still draw 0-0. Then have another penalty shootout at the end. Then you flip the coin.
What's the point in extra half an hour to do penalties?
Well, no, that's the thing. There isn't, is there? But I'm just saying, if you're going to do it,
then,
why not have
penalty? Then we've proven that the best thing to do is just have a penalty shootout.
I'm just saying, if they're that intent on keeping extra time, and they want, like you say, they want to sell your pies to your fan, they want you to have your advertising hoardings, why not do it after penalties? Because really, you go through to sudden death, and then so someone will be 1-0 up, at least 1-0 up.
As a footballer, I'll think my body's just relaxed now after 90 minutes. I'll go have to take a kick, and that's it. By the way, lads, you've got to play an extra half an hour.
And if you've missed the penalty, that means you're playing for another half an hour. Forget you're going out. You're now playing for another half an hour to probably.
I would get
you can rectify that, can't you?
Well, no, because I'll probably pull my hamstring.
Well, no, because you're going to draw 0-0 and then have to take another one.
No, I don't disagree.
I think one of the things I would boil it down to,
more
I know you were only trying
a
to play,
jovial sort of answer.
yeah,
really,
you're only trying to play devil's advocate, but the point is, they've tried so many different things to try and make extra time more exciting. So we had the golden goal, and it actually ended up being more defensive because you just have more and more teams going, well, hang on, we're too afraid to let in a goal now. Yeah. And then we have more and more going to penalties, and that probably actually started this trend, to be honest. So that's not an agreement. The silver goal thing was just
ridiculous.
I remember seeing it once, and it was in the Euro 2004 semi-final.
Greece won the whole tournament, didn't they?
Greece and Czech Republic might have been. So Greece scored in the 104th minute.
Yeah.
So effectively,
and it was minute to go.
basically
That was it. Yeah. It pretty much was the golden goal.
I mean, but I just don't understand.
Well, the other suggestion that I sort of heard, I've got to be honest, this come up years and years ago. And I think it was somewhere in the States because it does sound like an American thing to do. Is that in extra time? No, it's in extra time you have intervals where a player has to be removed from the pitch. So you've got 11v11.
Oh, no.
Then every 2 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever the intervals are, you then go 10v10, 9v9,
do you know what?
8v8.
Do you know why we have those intervals in America, like in baseball, every 3 minutes? So they can put another 3 minutes of adverts in.
No. So you wouldn't stop the game, but every time the two...
Who's regulating that? The Sunday League and the Saturday semi-pro leagues. Who's regulating
I'm just
that?
saying, you as a club,
You've got to do something that works for
if
everyone.
you as a club for a non-league team, gonna pay the referee a bit more just because I've stopped it every 5 minutes.
No, you would still have, say, the 30 minutes, but say every 2 minutes a player has to leave the pitch. You can eventually...
But then you're left with -4 at the end.
No, but that's the thing, you end up with 4...
Alright, you're going to have to come off now, mate.
No, that's the thing, you have to. Every time, like, I don't know, the klaxon goes or something like that.
No. I'm not having that.
Everything that's happened in extra time, or all of the similar ideas, so a toss of a coin, extra time, straight to penalties and golden goal or silver goal, they've all been simple to regulate at every level of the game.
Should we just
but I'm just thinking,
extra time and just do it on fair play?
Even as a player...
Let's do it on yellow cards.
Even as a player, how exciting would it be 4v4 on an 11-a-side pitch after 115 minutes of football?
It would be an early death.
The guys that are knackered to start with, like, cheers lads, I've only play like 92 minutes.
It'd be a way to get goalkeepers in.
Yeah, but that's the point then, isn't it?
Because it defines the point.
But surely someone will score then if you've got 5v5 on an 11-a-side pitch.
But it's pathetic. It's too. A game gets abandoned when a team gets down to 7 men, and you want to play 4v4.
That is true.
He spent the last 3 months moaning about 5-a-side. You're not selling it.
Yes. Oh,
no.
You got 5-a-side and 11-a-side game. No.
Again, I think that was another jovial answer, but the point being is you could. I personally think the best thing is to scrap it and go straight to penalties for the simple reason that you've got too many defensive teams, and clearly my suggestions are a load of crap. So it's not
for
going to
example,
happen.
Which are all alone, of course.
So, alright, let's play a scenario. It's 0-0. Game fishing 90 minutes 0-0. Now, how much you like for 0-0 isn't getting extra point.
Well, you won't get an extra point for that.
No.
Well, this is why Charlie wants to get goals in so badly.
So,
exactly. Yeah.
if it's 0-0 at the end of the game, do you just that's it? You're not going through. You have to play extra time now because you couldn't score.
The lucky
if it was 1-1, you got that's it, straight penalties.
And you can't say you're both not going through. You're going to have a lopsided draw, wouldn't you? Lopsided draw.
Alright, so 0-0, you have to play extra time. 1-1, straight penalties. What's your suggestion on that?
That makes no sense.
Someone's got to score.
It's a brilliant idea.
You think it's 0-0 we should play extra time?
And if it's
for what reason?
Well, you said you want to
single out the boring bastards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see that, but that's when you're playing a league for points. No one goes in a cup game.
Suggestion for a cup now, mate.
Yeah, but I can't understand what. So surely then it makes sense if we said, right, lads, we're both shattered. I'm going to stick one in my net. You go and stick one in yours. That way we then don't have to go to extra time.
That's a fair point.
Why not?
No,
I'm playing juvenile here. I'm playing juvenile.
Can we just say we want to scrap extra time?
Yeah.
Extra time is useless. Hopefully it works in the League Cup, and we'll get it in the FA Cup, and then the Champions League will copy us 10 years later and say it was great.
So we agree on scrapping extra time, but not for cup finals.
No, but I think you have to. If you do it for one, you have. I would say for a non-league club,
non-league should be scrapped.
Charlie's argument was based on the finals all being the same result as they were at 90 minutes. How many FA Cup finals have you watched at time just waiting for penalties? How many Champions League you just waiting for penalties?
Have we had extra time? When's the last time a penalty shootout was for?
Right, it's a long while since a FA Cup final's got to a penalty shootout.
But not many go to extra time. As they do, they go to penalties.
What I would say is that even going back to what we this was born out from, which is sort of more non-league, lower league football. Yeah. Probably the cost of running the floodlights alone for an extra half an hour hits a club, doesn't it, and stuff like that.
And at 10:30 on a Sunday morning, you haven't got time to waste. That's eating into your life.
Not many non-league clubs want to be at the ground at 10:30, for example, or 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
and you've got the groundskeeper at the park moaning, and you're like,
yeah. No, I agree. I think we should scrap extra time. But and if you go to penalties, should we do what they used to do in America, where you don't have penalties and you have the striker who runs from the halfway line?
I watched a video on YouTube.
So have you seen that?
I have. What's your problem with America this week?
No. I'm just saying that they don't like a draw, do they? You know,
have you been on the secret holiday?
He did have a football tour once in Dallas.
I did go to
Not last week though.
No. Not the last week. Yeah, I missed that at the beginning.
Keep penalties as they are. Don't fuck about with ABBA in penalty shootouts.
No, keep it ABA.
Musicals have no place in football, do they, Chuck?
No, funny. Oh, I didn't mention that at the beginning, did I? What's that? Went to see Mamma Mia on Saturday night.
Oh yes.
What game did I miss? Portugal. Who were Portugal playing Saturday night?
Uruguay.
Yes. I missed that for Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
Which I would say was absolutely amazing.
Well, here we go again.
That doesn't redeem
It's time for the shit then. I'm joking.
Right, that's the worst joke I've ever had. Penalty time. Oh, fuck. Extra time. Abandoned, yeah?
I think so, yeah.
I think we can agree on that.
We're agreeing, but I still think that we should maybe throw in a few dodgy things just to keep people.
That sounds like a Budweiser advert now.
No, but I should. I think maybe.
Anytime multi-bowls, was that something?
No, I think honestly, yeah, we should spice it up a little bit. Maybe take a player off every 5 minutes.
No.
Something like that.
Never.
Not a chance.
Okay, no, penalties it is then, boys.
Show your penis. It's my favourite time of the week. It's your favourite time of the week. It's everyone's favourite time.
Our favourite time of the week, sir.
Yeah.
Question of the week now, mate.
It's not question time yet, mate.
He's having a stinker this evening. Go on.
It's the shit lists. I'll play the rack it up now. We've got a few now.
So what are we on this week?
We're on 2 centre midfielders again. Michael Brown.
Still playing, by the way.
Is he?
Oh, he was a manager now, wasn't he?
Was he manager?
He was a manager.
He was a manager.
Yeah.
Player manager.
Well, he got sacked.
Okay, but he was playing. Cool.
Yeah. And
You've ruined my best
a guy who is actually still playing right now is Eric Jemba. So who's on whose side? You're on Michael Brown's side, Cody?
Michael Brown's going in at the end of this.
Okay, so let's get the stats out of the way first. 194 Premier League appearances, 5 Premier League clubs: Man City, Spurs, Fulham, Wigan, and everyone's favourite team, Portsmouth.
He was
When they got relegated down in 09-10.
They did.
Codes? What's your grievance with him?
Quite a few, to be honest.
Well,
We'll get to the fact that he's one of the dirtiest players ever to have played the Premier League. We'll get to my personal thing as a Luton Town fan and season ticket holder. What we'll look at is some of the more basic stats for him. You'll see how it links, Craig. Don't pull that face at me, mate. Okay, so let's start with the yellow and red cards. I mean, I've got those numbers here. 137 yellow cards, 7 reds. Okay?
That is pretty tragic, I've got to be honest.
that's quite...
3 players that have accused him of deliberately causing injury. 2 of them which actually had the injury, 1 that luckily escaped at the time. Sean Davis, Jacob Butterfield and Reading's Jem Carrison, who picked up a broken ankle from a deliberate sliding tackle. Hasn't really recovered from it, unfortunately.
No.
Relegated twice in 3 years with Manchester City. From Premier League down to League One. Whatever.
Oh, was he there then?
It was that. Mid-90s going down.
90s, yeah.
Did he go back up with him or not?
He went back up the first one.
Was that
and
when
didn't get a game the
scored?
following season. Yeah. So 98 he went back up.
Right.
We'll gloss over the fact he got Player of the Year that year.
I do remember when he was at Sheffield United, he was in that game where it got abandoned.
Yes.
For semi-red cards. He walked off.
Yeah. I mean, he did have one good season at Sheffield United, actually. It was a season 02-03. They got to the League Cup semi-final, I think. They played Liverpool.
Yeah.
I think that's when Neil Mellor made his name.
Oh,
Before his Soccer Saturday fame.
Not the goal against Arsenal, no.
No.
No,
Don't want to worry about that stuff. Against Arsenal, that's not really a challenge, is it?
No.
He was relegated with Portsmouth as well, as you mentioned.
Yep.
Played in an FA Cup final, but again, losing side. Similar theme here. The biggest problem I have with him, though, is a personal thing when he became a manager. So
He played in the FA Cup final.
He played in the 09-010. I don't think he played, but he was in the squad.
Oh, he was in the squad.
Sorry,
Yeah, of
he was in the
course.
squad.
Yes,
Sorry, it's in the
obviously-
18. He gets the medal. It
Yes,
all counts,
of
doesn't
course.
it? Unfortunately.
Oh, so
Okay,
is the other player we were going to talk about. Go on.
So playing for Port Vale and then managing Port Vale. So he took over them in December 2016 when they were in League One.
Yep.
Admittedly, they were in a bad position,
Got
but then got them relegated. Came into League Two with what he called a tenth of the budget they went up on before, but was still more of a budget than most teams in the league. Where was he when he got sacked? He was bottom of the league after a defeat at Luton on a Tuesday night. And do you know what happened on that Tuesday night at Luton? His team played a bit like Colombia against England. Right? And at the end, he was walking off. The Luton fans were applauding the Luton players. It was probably one of the least controversial games you'll ever be to in terms of fan attendance and fan behaviour. And he just randomly started swearing at the crowd. I'd never seen anything like it. It's normally provoked by the fans. And I'm happy to admit the Luton fans have done their part of that in the past.
To the main stand, or was it to
it was to the main stage, just going down to the tunnel.
Oh.
But it was a kids' night or something. There were loads of kids there. There was no one really causing any aggro. And he just started shoving middle fingers up in the air. And I had no idea what he was doing. And he just set the example of what his whole career was, which was just a scum of a player, to be honest.
So you're saying he's an arrogant prick?
He's arrogant, he thinks he's better than he is. He's got one of the worst managerial records in history, and he deserves to be in that shit list. If Benjani's in there and he's not, then we have to reevaluate our position.
The whole thing needs to go, I think.
Right. Charlie, your thoughts on Michael Brown?
No, I agree. Michael Brown is an awful bloke, awful footballer. Played it for some teams. Played what, over 500 times?
Yeah, he's
Which I agree. He's probably a no. Let's be honest. He's a horrible bastard. There's no two ways about it. However, I do feel that my next candidate is slightly more deserving of being on the shit list.
So I'll get to stats first. Eric Jemba.
Eric Jemba. So good total, they named him twice.
The one who ruined that phrase for the rest of the players.
JJ Kotra is not happy with that. So he made 31 Premier League appearances in total. He's won an FA Cup medal.
Yeah, whoa.
Go on.
You could say that about Michael Brown.
More to the other 10 players around him. Yeah.
Michael Brown didn't win shit. One FA Cup winner. He did get bankrupt when he joined Aston Villa from Man United.
You're taking all my arguments now, Craig.
Yeah, but I want you to expand on that, Charlie.
Well, no, my issue is the fact that he's still playing for a Swiss. You know, he's playing in professional Fifth division. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Swiss fifth division. I can't even pronounce their name. Valor Balige.
I didn't even bother writing it down.
He played. Okay. I mean, what gets me is he spends at least 2 years at a club, and yet his appearances don't get much above 20. Okay, so we'll go right. He was at Nantes. 42. Man United, 2 years, 20 appearances. Aston Villa, 2 years, 11. Went on loan to Burnley. Qatar. Played for OB. I mean, who on earth is OB?
He's from Denmark.
Yeah. Okay, he played...
Wait for the next one.
Yeah.
Hapoel Tel Aviv.
And the next one.
Partizan. And then this is the best one. He played twice for St Mirren.
After being hailed as one of their biggest...
No, my biggest issue with Eric Jemba is that...
Did St Mirren get rid again?
Well, I think he got the majority of those moves off of the back of he was at... No, I didn't say played. He was at Man United.
Yes. Which happens for a lot of players.
He was dubbing next Roy Keane.
He was. That's what he was signed for.
So exactly. And let's be honest, he was barely in the band Keane, was he? Let alone Roy Keane. I think he
scored one sick goal.
But he scored in his whole career. He's got 1, 4, I think
it was about
12, 11 goals. Yeah. 11 goals. I mean, at least Michael Brown got into the 50 mark, you know. So,
but not many
players. Half of that was in one season.
If I'm being brutally honest, and I'm going to do a slight compromise, which defeats the whole object of this, I think they both should be in centre midfield. I don't know who we've got there already. I think Nigel Quasi. He has to be out. He has to be out. And for me, Eric Jemba and Michael Brown.
Well, we've already done one in the podcast where I've taken someone out and put both of them in. And
you can't tell me that Nigel Quasi is worse than Eric Jemba.
Can I have one curveball with? Eric Jemba came through at Nantes with a player called Matthew Burson, who ended up at Villa. And if you want a sub-centre midfielder, you've got one there.
But I just think it's the fact. I would love to. You know, Alex Ferguson, obviously an amazing manager, etc. I would love to know what he saw in Eric Jemba that no one else did.
I don't think Sir Alex scouted him. I think some scout from France.
No way he would have signed him.
I've got one poignant statistic about Jemba.
He's another one who should be far off there, to be honest.
That we all know as well. Jemba, there's one poignant bit about this which fits into what we've been talking about. His most famous moment for United was he scored a wonderful looping volley. We'll call it wonderful. A looping volley in one of the last couple of minutes of extra time against Leeds. I think it was Paul Robinson in goal. And he lobbed him. And it was the last few minutes of extra time, prevented a penalty shootout. So
that's why extra times are valuable.
He's one of the few exceptions. He's ruined our argument for that as well. So he's in the shit list.
Crossed in by Quinton Fortune.
Yeah, but Quinton Fortune is a South African legend.
I mean, Arsene Wenger described a tackle he made on Sol Campbell as obscene. I mean,
Well,
so
any
both of
tackle
these.
that
I mean, to be
Arsenal
honest, both
does,
of
anybody
these
does
people we're talking about, I don't think you'd want to play against them for that simple reason.
I'm actually going to agree with you both, and
But I think we need to twist this argument around now, and I feel like Daniel and I together need to gang up against you and fight for the reason why on earth Nigel Quasi is anywhere near that
A
list.
good steady Eddie Pro,
Yeah.
did his best, no harm to anyone, and you've put him in the shit list.
Well,
And on the week I wasn't here.
You compare him to Michael Brown
do you know
Eric
what?
Jemba.
I don't think you two need to force me to actually make that decision. I'm actually going to agree with you both and put both of them in the shit list.
Fantastic.
Yeah, just because Michael Brown's a prick and Eric Jemba, he just ruined the name. Yeah,
I think he lived a lot off of a Man United career that he never actually had.
Yeah, but to be honest,
and I don't
some
like
players do that in non-league, so I give them credit for that. But yeah, both of them in the shit list for me. Take Quasi out. Do you know what, guys? Where can you play football for free?
Well, it's an excellent question, I think. I'm going to try, despite being like a lefty socialist, I'm going to try and not get too political over this.
I'm not gonna do that.
Do you know, actually, I'm going to kick off this argument in a completely different direction to what you thought I would. In terms of people not being able to play football on pitches for free, I think the issue is obviously an economic one. We spoke a few weeks ago about the cost of AstroTurfs and all this sort of stuff. And if you're just a kid who wants to play football and you don't want to do it on the middle of the road where there's a very good chance you get hit by a car, where can you go and do it? Now,
Light entertainment show.
well, yeah, exactly.
I played football on the street.
You lived in a close, Craig.
No, mine was a one-way. No, I played with my mate on the street. It was a one-way street, so it made it easier. Because car. And then
But what I'm saying is, if you're on about actually playing football and with your mates and five-a-side and all of that, and you don't have to pay for it, you shouldn't have to settle for a road. That's the point I'm making.
No.
So there are green spaces. So I know people say, yeah, but there's local parks. The problem is, it's a grass cutting issue. Okay? Because I looked at the local council. Okay, this is getting so boring. I promise you I'll get to the important bit. And apparently, our local council, okay, they can only cut it every 4 weeks, although that can be up to 7 to 8 weeks.
This is Luton Borough Council.
Yeah, so if you go to a local park, I've been there recently, the grass is up by your knees. Do you know why? And this is why you can blame, if you want to get, I know, take this to the FA, if you want to blame who is not, why kids are not playing on local parks, it's because of the bees. Okay, apparently.
Okay.
Honestly.
I did not expect that one.
I did not expect that, but go on.
No, so, basically, councils are under pressure from wildlife groups because apparently cutting the grass destroys ecosystems for bees, wildlife that's out there, mainly bees though. See, I didn't realise till recently, there's a thing called a ground bee. Did you know there was a ground bee?
I didn't know that.
So they dig
I didn't know that they all lived in local parks.
No, but here we go. Right,
I think you've lost Craig.
No, so this is from an article by Helping Pollinators Locally, which.
Well, it didn't say
It's a spring watch now. By the way.
Apparently, charities have noticed that despite significant publicity around the decline of the bean population, only 5 councils have introduced comprehensive plans to stop cutting grass. Okay?
I worried this was going to be boring.
Hold on a minute. Not every green field is a football pitch. Or a beehive.
Or a beehive.
Or a beehive, whatever this freaking thing.
No, but the point being is that part of the reason you can't play football on the grass is because the grass is too long. The reason the grass is too long is because we're saving the fucking bees. That's the long and the short of it.
I think that's an excuse that pushes over somewhat the cost of
but
cutting the
there's more
grass.
fields.
It wasn't an issue.
Well, no, that's the actual thing.
Pitches.
The actual, I mean, I sort of joke about. Well, I don't joke about the bees because it is a genuine reason why they don't cut it.
Yeah.
But part of it is Burnley Borough Council. Try saying that after a few beers. Burnley Borough Council reckon they can save £58,000 a year by reducing the frequency of cutting the grass. So to a local council, £58,000 when you look around at social housing, all this sort of stuff, that's quite a lot. Look, Craig's had enough already. I'm trying not to be political.
No. The thing is,
it's going to cost more than 58 grand in car insurance.
What bothers me is my team, my reserve team, we play on a park pitch, and that gets cut once a month.
Yeah.
When I'm like, we're supposed to be the big dogs in this bloody league, and they're looking and goes, oh, what the hell is going on with this pitch? Where half it's cut because it used to be a cricket pitch, and then the other half's like long grass because we're starting to save fucking bees.
Yeah, Yeah, but I mean, they do reckon if bees died out, we'd all fall apart because we'd have nothing to pollinate anything.
I'm not arguing with the bees. The bees thing is a serious issue. What I'm saying is that the grass cutting is not the main source of problem here.
No.
I'm not saying cut the grass every 3 days or something.
No.
Every week. Not every.
I think on a serious note, we're getting very serious for a minute, it boils down to two separate issues. One is the areas that we've got are not fit for purpose, and the other one, which I'm moving on to, which is about, I'm really trying not to sort of get into the thing of Brexit and blooming governments and Tories and all this sort of stuff, is that there isn't as many places to play football in the first place. Now I know Daniel's argument is going to be that my wife's doctor's surgery on is what used to be a park, and
my career.
and his place of work. But a lot of places now, particularly like built-up areas where we live in, those areas where you could play football, for example, are being built on. Someone Rochford, where is that? Is that Essex? Southend. So like teams that are in Southend, they're paying £800 a year to play on what is essentially like a meadow. You know, and we were talking about the cost of football. The cost of the pitches is going up, and the quality of them is declining. So
but you think that's probably what we were paying here.
Yeah, £800.
Probably.
The thing is, they claim that when they've had games called off in October. They've had to call off games in October because either the grass is too long or it's not safe to play on. In October, you know, December you expect in this country bad weather, etc. You know, I think I'm trying not to be boring, but I think there's a serious point of that the areas that we have got are being built upon because of people, you know, population increase and stuff like that. So where then, and this is the alternative, where could you play if you can't get on the grass because either it's too long or it's not?
So they're giving you the alternative of playing on a 3G pitch, but
that's cost, isn't it?
Cost like not just to build one is quite a lot, and then even to hire it out for an hour or so, it's still too much. And
there's a limit on when you can play. You've got to have all the people together at the same time.
Then you resort to playing five-a-side football, and then five-a-side football becomes boring.
Alright, Craig, we know your views on five-a-side.
I did actually a search on this. So if you go on Google and put in where can I play football for free, not only do you get the articles that I quoted from to this evening, you also get a website. No. You get a website which is called.
Where can I play football?
No, it's not even that. I can't even think of the name of it now.
Playfootball.net.
It's a similar thing.
But basically, you type in your postcode and it gives you
nearest park.
Did you go on it and type in your postcode?
Yeah. Good. So this is what I come up with. Okay.
So this is your postcode.
So first one. I know I say my postcode, but so this is the first one nearest to my house of where I apparently can play football. Venue 360, which is now Luton Town's training ground and has AstroTurf pitches. So I can't play there for free, can I?
No.
Next one. You'll appreciate this. Wigmore Primary School. So I need to hire out a school, which again costs me money, or break into it.
So you'll get done.
I mean, I'm a school teacher. There's massive safeguarding issues of just rocking up at a school and playing on the field.
And there are multiple parks between these areas.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah. So then you've got another one, Ashcroft High School. So a high school now, again.
Technically, it would be the park of Crawley Green.
Then that come up, Crawley Green. Okay.
Why is that before?
I don't know. So that's the order coming. I then also got Rain and Way, which. I don't know if you've been up there recently.
School and social park?
Yeah, it's like a community centre and stuff like that, and you have to pay to go there. So actually, these places that you can play for free, so even the things that you don't need lights for, you don't need a cage for, you're having to pay for. You have to pay for
the 5 or 6 suggestions you just said there.
Yeah, only
one was viable, and that was Crawley Green.
And that's the thing. And if you think about it, this is the area that we're in now. It's quite a big area, lots of people there. If you all descended on that one park, I'm not saying that it's going to happen. You're not suddenly going to get 3,000 people on one field.
Well,
but
you might.
Well, if that's your only option,
unless you watch Crawley Green,
it then becomes overcrowded. And you've got to think, as well as the overcrowdedness, like you just said there, your team plays there, you train there, so areas of that field are going to be taken up that just say me, not me, because I'm 29.
Or do you like training?
But but like young kids or young adults want to go and play football.
Yeah, but then that'll get ruined anyway.
Well, that's the thing. So where do you go? So the thing is, what's the alternative?
One of my problems with this is that we seem to be heading with football towards every other sport, which is there's nowhere to play for free. The working class are basically stamped out of being able to play.
Yeah.
It's the same for tennis. So when I was a kid, I used to play tennis. We did the subsidised school ones, school lessons. At the end of the year, they said, you've got a bit of talent, do you want to stay along? By the way, it's $2,000 a year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you can't afford that, you know. It's that, or do you want to live under a roof for the rest of your
life?
You've got to make a choice, and that is the same situation for many families. It's something that we risk in football. We've seen it with stadium ticket price. I know it's slightly off topic, but ticket price and things like that, where people have been priced out of it. The only way they can watch it is on the telly. If you price them out of playing as well, what's their route into the sport, and where's the future generation for football?
Well, I seem to have brought this up a lot, which makes you think that the money that I was supposedly getting, I've probably already spent about 5 times over. But apparently, Wembley is being sold for an obscene amount of money, and they're on about putting it into grassroots football. And I do think they should maybe take that as a literal thing of grassroots. And could they subsidise or could they invest in
some grass seed?
Some grass seed. No, but actually, on a serious note, could they identify within the town, rather than 1 pitch out of 6 in like the vicinity of where I live, for example, of those places, could they either subsidise the use for people to use them, or could they actually give money to local councils to say, right, instead of cutting it every 4 weeks, or instead of treating it every... Because it's not just that you don't have issues with dog mess, you have issues with people churning up on motorbikes, to just generally look after the places of parks, not even to play football, I suppose you could talk about cricket and all sorts, but this is a football podcast. No, because
cricket pitches get looked after a lot
better. But they're normally paid for, to be fair.
Yeah,
they are
but could that money be subsidised for that? I don't know, I mean, that's the point I'm trying to make. I don't think there's anywhere around. You hear about all this cage football, so you do have places, not in this country, but I know in Europe, where it's just a free cage of, played on tarmac. But that's not the same, is it, in a sense?
I'm trying. I did have some notes about being positive on this, and all you've done is convince me not to mention them, because there is no positive.
So what was your positives?
Well, my positive...
say, I had one.
I was trying to put a positive spin on the cost of football, to look at perhaps, maybe the people who most want to play football find a way, and it will get out some of... We talked about a few weeks ago, people who just want to hit lumps out of you. Are they going to do it if they can't do it anywhere for free? For school kids, does it mean that more of them, instead of at lunchtimes and whatever, going and hiding behind a tree and smoking, will actually go and play football, because it's a chance for them to actually do it? The problem is that those are severely outweighed by the negatives, and realistically, how long is it if all of those schools are renting out their pitches before they're kept off separately and you can't play on them?
And that's the thing.
And then some areas have been taken up by council to build houses on it, and obviously...
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Well, I can't comment on this.
No, we don't want to go down that road, because it's an incredibly boring subject. But I totally agree with you, and that is...
It's definitely a problem.
That's one of the main
And I think the thing we mentioned with Charlie with the postcode thing is, we're not talking round the corner. We're talking probably a 2.5 mile radius.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, that's some distance to have 6 places where you can play football, only one of which is free.
Yeah,
so potentially you're talking 4 miles from your house to the nearest free football.
Like in my area, I've probably got 2.
Well, you've got what? Pastures right at the bottom, which...
I've got Lucy Park, and I've got
that's it,
by the Bedfordshire FA. That's probably 2 places.
Yeah, but even then, that's not...
No, on the grass.
Big area, though.
No, on the grass. It's big enough on the grass.
Well, yeah, the point being, though,
that's mile away.
It's still a mile away, but we're talking a 2.5 mile.
The point I'm making is...
That's for me, for Grey Park, compared to me and to Lucy Park.
But the point I'm making is to think about the number of people living in that community.
That's what I'm saying,
so you've got, 2 places, one of which really is a lot smaller than the other, to serve a whole area, a whole borough of the town.
Yeah,
that's the worrying thing, and yet there used to be other places, but now they've gone. So.
I think there's no resolution to this, bar a boring one, unfortunately, which is an economic matter.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of it about going down that road is about austerity and cuts, and if you read about that, if you do get a chance to look at your local councils and all that, you will find that actually the parks department have all been cut. There's been cuts to that. Hence
it's one of the only ones that's not directly life-threatening or...
Exactly.
But unless you're B...
And that's down to the Tories. So anyway, whichever way you vote is fine, but just don't vote for them.
So basically, if you're a B, you're a lucky bastard.
Yeah, basically, remember to bastard Bs. That's it. So, there you go. I'll give you a clue for what time it is. It's question of the day. Yay! Oh, poor Craig, you have been getting a bit of stick this week.
Well,
rightly so.
Yeah.
Rightly so.
I'll give you a clue, and then you gave us the answers of the question. Was
last week was
highlight of mine.
Last week was not a shambles, and I do apologise for my unprofessionalism of giving the straight answer. So
just
it's
remind
still
us.
1-0.
I was going to say, remind us what the
I
score
don't
is.
think it is.
You
gave us a very simple clue last week, because neither of us got the answer right first. You gave us a very simple clue, and then I got the answer right.
You two were dumb, and I thought, no, I'm going to...
No, because I was one the week previous.
Yes, you are.
And then I equalised last week. But I'm getting Grimsby correct.
We might need to listen back to
be
the
honest, I might have to go to VAR on that one, and probably won't give it you.
I listened to it again, do you?
You did already submit an answer.
You did.
It's a fair point.
You got straight away.
I just wanted to moan in for another minute. Carry on.
From League 2 to the Premier League.
Ooh, the worst league of them all.
The worst league of them all, even though
The
we
one we
probably
don't
watch it on
the one we
Sky.
don't really speak on.
The one we promised we wouldn't talk about.
Yeah. Come on in, Craig.
So,
Take a dangerous 2-0 lead. Here we go.
take a 2-0 lead. Which Premier League team holds the record for the lowest amount of goals scored at home in a single season?
Sorry, right, start again. Do that again.
Premier League team holds
Yeah.
the record for the lowest amount of goals scored at home.
Let's be honest, we're both going
In
for
one-
a complete stab in the dark here.
One
aren't we?
single
Well, yeah,
season.
I'll go for a slightly
Yeah, so if you do a double answer, how many goals were scored and which team?
So
How many goals were scored?
How many goals and which team?
So we're looking for basically one of the teams that have been the shittest in the Premier League.
Well,
so I
I've got
immediately
two
go to
answers
like
in my
Derby
head.
or a Sunderland.
They're the two that I was going to go for. So
Okay.
that's
Should we
now.
pick one each?
Okay, alright.
Or should we go for a complete curveball on the presumption that Craig wouldn't have asked us that?
I don't think the answer to the question is obvious. Is it?
No.
That's the.
I mean,
Can
he's
we
going
give
to
you a
give us
clue?
the answer eventually anyway.
No, I don't want a clue. I don't
want a
the-
clue, man?
I don't want the answer, Craig. Don't give me a clue which is the answer. No. Okay.
I'll give you the answer.
No. Right.
Let's go for it.
It's got to be. I think, although it's a double bluff here, I'm going to go for Derby due to the fact they've got so few points. Means they must have scored so few goals at home. So
Okay.
I'm going to go Derby.
So you're talking about Derby in
Yeah, the year they
07-08.
went down when Robbie Savage was there. What
So
year?
Derby 07-08.
Yeah,
lowest
I'm
amount
gonna
of
go
points
for-
ever.
Yeah. This is probably. I don't even know if this is a good answer or not. 28 goals at home.
Oh,
No.
28. I do want to get 28.
No, sorry.
Oh, you've given your answer.
No,
you give your answer.
No, come on. No,
I'll let you have one more.
Well, it's 1-1 then.
No.
12.
Okay.
Okay. I'm thinking of two curveballs and I know which one to go for. I either want to go with West Ham just to annoy Charlie, because they've had a couple of seasons where they've been woeful.
I can give you an obvious one. Obviously, people think I hate Portsmouth. It's definitely
I
not.
don't know, because they were always an attacking team, to be fair.
Well, they got relegated 09-10 with 9.
The other one I'm thinking is maybe one of the couple of seasons where Burnley were at home, because they used to draw 0-0 a lot. So I'm going to go for Burnley, just because I haven't got any better ideas. And I'm going to go for 11 goals at home.
Okay. Interesting from both your answers. The answer, I'll give you the answer now, not the clue. The team is Manchester City
Oh, I know, Stuart Pearce, isn't it? The Stuart Pearce season.
with 10 goals.
He's done them both, isn't he?
Was it 05-06?
06-07.
Oh, was it Stuart Pearce? Yeah, when they had Carradi and all the other Italians up
Yeah.
front who couldn't score.
Was that only put David James up front in the last game of the
No,
season?
that was the season before.
Oh,
But no,
I
Stuart
don't
Pearce-
remember that.
Did Stuart Pearce get sacked? No, he got sacked at the end of the
They
season.
didn't go down that year, though, surely.
No, they didn't finish mid-table.
It was.
No,
Who was the other one? It was Caradi. It was one other Italian fella.
No, it was
Ronaldo
Samaras.
Bianchi.
No, they had
Ronaldo-
Bianchi joined the season after. It was
Did he?
Samaras you had.
Oh.
George Samaras.
Samurai.
You
But-
went on at Sports City.
No, but yeah, 10 goals.
10?
Yeah.
10 at home?
10 at home for the whole season, which is the lowest in Premier League history.
I
Was
never would have got that.
Benjani on their bike?
No, that was apparently Ben Johnny's best season.
Benny McCarthy, that's it.
But that was the season where Benny McCarthy was second top goal scorer
4.
in the Premier League
Was that Blackburn?
for Blackburn. Yes,
See, he's a good striker, yeah, you know.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
better than Benjani.
but that kind of surprised me when I did my research. See, Manchester City, that was before the owners took up like.
So they must have had a very good away record then that season. So they've only
Well,
scored 10 goals at home. I suppose they could be
wasn't
10-1
great.
wins, couldn't you? I suppose it's.
Didn't they have
I'm really bothered to get that.
didn't they have Impanza up top or something like
Oh, the Emil from
that?
Anderlecht.
From Anderlecht, yeah. Was he
Yeah.
up top then?
Yes.
Might be
great.
before
He
that.
started up front in Anderlecht.
So
How do you
Bradley
score
White
that
Phillips
then?
as well. Was Bradley White Phillips still knocking about?
Probably was. I don't care about Randy Wright first. So the score is still 1-0 to Charlie Vex.
How exciting!
The only thing is, he was closer than me.
He was close. Don't get me wrong.
But I was still wrong according to Craig.
Oh, okay.
Because
Right.
actually, that wasn't the answer.
Do we need to go to extra time for this? 'Cause
We might have to do a penalty shootout first,
and then do
and
extra
then do
time.
extra time.
But we've got to take one of us out each 2 minutes. So we're left with nothing but microphones.
Exactly. Nothing left on my microphone and just me.
Probably make a better podcast, to be honest with it, but. Okay, no, so I think that sums up.
So yeah, still 1-0 Charlie Vex.
That sums up how the series is going to end, doesn't it?
I could do another question, but I won't bother because you're not going to get this one either. But that'll be for next week.
Next week.
Cheerio. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Let us know your thoughts on the topics and the players in the shit list in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe.